Hey, and how's it going? It is a wonderful Monday, April 6th. It's the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. You're going to find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, and come support us on Patreon. It was a good and busy weekend. On Saturday, of course, we had the Bubble Talk, and we discussed and talked about dealing with uncertainty. And yesterday, we had the Sunday edition, and we interviewed a South African member, Youngse. Go check out that interview. It is fun. It's delightful, so I hope you enjoyed that too. Now, what are we going to talk about today? First, we're going to talk about coronavirus updates and a possible name change of the virus too. Go figure. And also, why does Taiwan only have 355 cases? And last but not least, the Sunday sermon of always giving thanks. So how was the weekend for everyone? I hope you guys enjoyed it and you guys were able to relax, have a wonderful Sunday service. So what we're going to do today, because this week's message is about giving thanks, but also to rejoice and have joy in this, we're going to start with two songs that will kind of get our blood pumping. The first song is from the Sumney Boys featuring Mariah, and that's the song Together with the Lord. And the second song is from Jay Root of the Paper Music Associates. And the song and the single is going to be From Now and Forever. So let's just get our groove on.
We believe in the same God, but we are on different levels.
Put your hands in the sky if you feel alive. All the stories that we made, just you and I. Never losing all the passion. All this love is my obsession. Oh my gosh, this feeling got me heat stroke. His love like a billion pots about to heat though. I ain't never breaking from this bond, cause you and I are only one. If you ain't living with the Lord, then who you with? Who you with? If you ain't living with the Lord, then who you with? Who you with? You and get together with the Lord every day, all day. You and get together with the Lord all day, all day. You and get together with the Lord every day, all day. You and get together with the Lord all day, all day. Together with the Lord, I'm living my best life. Don't worry about a thing, you know it's only sunny life. We sing about memory stories that we share. We'll fall deeper in love as we stop and just stare. My eyes only on you. They sparkle with love, don't forget my charm too. There will never be another, live this life only for you. I give you this promise that I will hold true. If you ain't living with the Lord, then who you with? Who you with? If you ain't living with the Lord, then who you with? Who you with? You and get together with the Lord every day, all day. You and get together with the Lord all day, all day. You and get together with the Lord every day, all day. You and get together with the Lord all day, all day.
We believe in the same God, but we are on different levels.
It's been a long time we've been separated and staying apart. As you can see at last, it's the time we were waiting for. Every day, every night when I pray, when I sing a song. Yeah, I made up my mind, I don't wanna lose you anymore. 수많은 시간을 참고 기다려왔잖아. 눈앞에 있는 그대 놓칠 순 없어 나. 간절한 이 마음 더 깊어지는 이 순간. 이젠 그대와 함께 사는 거야 from now.
Yeah, I remember back in the days. In deep sorrow I pray. 편지 한 장 그 안에 담긴 사연. 힘겨운 하루에 작은 힘이 될 수 있다면 굳이 답장하지 않아도 난 괜찮아. 않아 주위 모든 게 그대가 되어 나에게 전하 구름과 햇살 그림자와 빗소리에 피어나 You and me another love story
수많은 시간을 참고 기다려왔잖아 눈앞에 있는 그대 놓칠 순 없어 난 간절하니만 더 깊어지는 이 순간 이젠 그대와 함께 사는 거야 from now 그댄 어디쯤에 있을까 유난히 밝은 저 반달이 누운 곳에 그대 처음 반짝이던 마음이 다시금 빛날 때 가벼운 발걸음 어느새 그대 향해 넘어가는 달력에 숨이 넘어갈 듯 달려가네
앞서는 걱정을 뒤로 해 피곤해 지쳐있을 그땐 내가 필요해 기도해 그땐 이별의 하늘 위로함을 슬퍼했지만 이제 양손을 하늘 위로 하고 소리쳐 난 행복한 사람 나의 영원한 행복은 그대가 내게 주니까
수많은 시간을 참고 기다려왔잖아 눈앞에 있는 그대 놓칠 순 없어 난 간절하니만 더 깊어지는 이 순간 이젠 그대와 함께 사는 거야 from now
Yeah, yeah. Today's the day I missed you so much, my darling. 오래전부터 손꼽아 기다린 날이 내게 오다니. Is it a dream? No, it is real. 당신이 자랑스러워하실 내 모습. Yeah, 내가 준비한 작은 선물. 아직 많이 부족하고 또 아쉬운 것 투성이지만 이제 내 목소리를 고백하고 싶어. 그대의 눈을 바라보며 이 노래 들려주고 싶어. Yeah.
수많은 시간을 참고 기다려왔잖아 눈앞에 있는 그대 놓칠 순 없어 난 간절하니만 더 깊어지는 이 순간 이젠 그대와 함께 사는 거야 from now from now from now and forever
And that was From Now and Forever from the J Root of the Paper Music Associates. And of course, the first song was from the Sumney Boys, featuring who? It is featuring Mariah, and that song was Together with the Lord, one of my favorites. So I hope you guys kind of enjoyed those two, so we can kind of get started in today's news. Today's news, of course, we're going to start with the coronavirus updates. And one thing is very interesting is there's a petition to change the name from the coronavirus or COVID-19 to the CCP virus. And that's kind of interesting because what does CCP mean? It means Chinese Communist Party virus. And one of the reasons they want to change the name is because it's giving an unfair name to the Chinese people who haven't done anything bad, but it's actually the Chinese Communist government, that party that has created this big problem in the first place. So there is a petition going on for the White House right now calling this, like they want to change it to the CCP virus. And honestly, I'm totally down with that because I completely think it's the fault of the Chinese Communist Party. It's not even the people's fault. They're the ones wondering what the heck is going on. So I hope that we too can just understand just the gravity of what happened because of all the misinformation that is happening. Like if you look right now, we've topped 1.2 million cases around the world. Over 60, like by the time you get it, we're well over 65,000 deaths. And the U.S., of course, is number one in the world for most cases, but not per capita. And they have over 300,000 cases with 8,500 deaths. Spain has now overtaken Italy with most cases. They have 1,000 more, so they have 126,000 cases with 12,000 deaths, and Italy has 125,000 cases with 15,000 deaths. And also, France is very interesting because France has now become the new hot zone of Europe. And they have over 91,000 cases, but shockingly, they have over 7,500 deaths, which is really, I believe they had like 1,000 deaths in a span of 48 hours. The UK is also getting pretty bad right now. They've only got 43,000 cases, but 4,300 deaths. So their mortality rate right now is going at a clip of 10%. So it's something where in Europe it's still going pretty strong, but a lot of these cases they said they're going to be hitting their peaks pretty soon in Europe, and even the U.S. they said that the peak of the deaths are going to be starting next week, in anywhere from like the 6 to 10 days. They're going to start hitting their peaks. Malaysia, where I'm in right now, they're at about 3,500 cases with 57 deaths, which is not too bad. It's kind of hard right now because they're in stage 2 of the MCO, the Movement Control Order, so there's no driving from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Singapore just started their lockdown. They're at 1,200 with 6 deaths. Indonesia is very interesting, right? Indonesia has their curfew. They're at 2,100 cases, 191 deaths. But the Philippines is very interesting, because the Philippines is it's close to 3,100 cases with 144 deaths. But just recently, the president of the Philippines, he basically told the police to use very, very strict measures. Okay? Now, what do I mean strict measures? He said that if anyone is breaking the MCO regulations, he literally said in English, shoot them dead. So, if you're in the Philippines, if you're listening, please stay inside, right? Please, we just don't want any trouble or anything happening. But the president of the Philippines seems to be pretty serious about this. Now, one thing that I want to talk about today is that one question is, why does Taiwan only have 355? Okay? And the reason why this is so interesting is because the WHO predicted that Taiwan would be like the second worst infected place outside of China. So they're at 355 cases with 5 deaths. And you're like, what happened? Are they also like lying about their stats? Like, what happened? And the interesting thing is they had a super fast response. Like, they started to lock down and started quarantining and start getting all these quarantine lockdown measures started on January 20th, which is way faster than everyone else. And here's the interesting thing is, I was listening to this the news update, and they were talking to Taiwan, right? One of the leaders in Taiwan, and they said, hey, why'd you guys start so early? And they said, because we don't trust China and we don't trust the WHO. So this is kind of the history that happened behind it. Okay, this is what happened, like how everything started. January 15th, or even before that time, they hear about these outbreaks. These outbreaks happening in China. So Taiwan sends 2 doctors over to Wuhan to go check out these outbreaks that are happening. 5 days later, January 20th, which happens to be my mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. Well, no, January 20th, but either way, January 20th, 5 days later, they activate their command center. And what that means is, the reason that you have this command center for like these outbreaks, epidemics, is because it was implemented way back in the time when SARS came in, right? SARS, basically caused Taiwan to have all these preparations set and made. So they had this command center over there in Taiwan, and 5 days after 2 Taiwanese doctors went to visit Wuhan to check out these outbreaks, they activated their command center, which means what? Basically, they stockpiled and supplied their hospitals so that they'll be ready for 30 days. They make sure that all the different regions have quarantine rules set. They start the border restrictions. They started these technological information sharing, like these apps that they made. Like some apps were telling you where you could buy masks. Other apps were telling you where, or the regions where people had COVID-19, so people can kind of avoid those areas or make sure that they don't go out. And of course, the biggest thing is their distrust for China and their distrust for the WHO. And this is not something that's only from Taiwan. It's actually a big thing that's happening right now, is this distrust in the WHO, because China started to send out this propaganda about, it's not a big deal. And the WHO was just basically like echoing it without even really knowing. So a lot of people are losing trust in the WHO also, but Taiwan has every reason not to trust China. And if the WHO starts to support China, they have no reason to support the WHO. And that's why they started implementing everything right away. We're talking January 20th, which is super early. So how did they do it? They have like these amazing systems where they have a COVID-19 database where everyone in Taiwan is in it, all their medical info, just to make sure people are tracked by their phone, so they're not just going out and doing whatever they want. If people do have some type of symptoms, they are being called, and they're also being checked upon and having house visits just to make sure that they're there. They're getting free masks also. People are coming in from the airport, they're getting checked. Secondary measures, getting checked again. And also, like when they go home, there's a tax, like a government taxi that will take you home alone. So no one's going to be together, which is a great thing. And this is the reason why when you're looking at all these interviews about what's happening in Taiwan, all these people feel safe and they have this trust for their government. And the reason is because it's super transparent. It's very, very transparent. And because of the transparency, people know like what's the stockpile, what's going on, where are these borders, where are they like bordering off certain areas. Everything is being told, and that's why panic is erased. There's like no one going out panic buying like China's doing even right now. There's panic buying going on. Like even if you look at the masks, they're just really smart about it. Taiwan was super smart about it. If you guys haven't heard, Taiwan just recently shipped 10 million masks to needed countries like Italy, Spain, France, America too. And the reason they're able to do this is because the moment they started on January 20th, they first started by banning all exports on medical equipment, which included masks. And then they began to ration masks in the beginning, get their stockpiles going, and then they started to sell openly to the public. So people can order it online, people can pick it up, buy it at stores. They'll have the apps telling you what stores has supplies left. And it's not like people were hoarding anything, and they kept track of people. Like when you buy these masks, it goes under your name, and it shows how many masks you bought, like how many boxes you've bought also. So if you think about that too, now they're producing 10 million masks a day. They're producing 10 million a day. There is no shortage in masks or any of these supplies. Why? Because they started really, really early. The government is very trusted, and the key is transparency. They feel protected. A lot of Taiwanese are going away. I was looking at this one program where it shows Taiwanese in London just feeling unsafe, that the government's they're barely protecting their citizens. So why would they protect foreigners? So they're all flying back to Taiwan, and they feel much safer over there. When you look at China too, the reason why China is so untrustworthy, it's not just the people in China that don't trust China, like the government. It's like the whole world. The whole world doesn't trust China and the information that they're giving, right? Like even, when they talk about I talked about the deaths on Friday, and it looks like there's way more than the deaths that they're talking about, right? There was a news show, and then there's a director of a funeral home, and he basically, he was talking about on this show. He says that for some reason China is ordering hundreds and thousands of body bags. So they asked him, well, how many body bags are being ordered? And they said about 150 to 200,000 body bags are being ordered by China. So that kind of gives you an idea of what's going on, right? And this is just one of the funeral homes, right? One of the funeral directors that's talking about it. So if you look in China, because there's distrust with the government, what's happening right now, they say that panic buying is already starting again. People are stocking up on rice, stocking up on flour. And one of the reasons is because they feel that a food shortage is coming along the way. Now, the government has already explained there will be no food shortage. But if you don't trust the government, what are you thinking? They're probably lying. And one thing you have to understand about the Chinese situation is they have so many people that they don't have enough food to actually feed everyone in China. So if you can't feed everyone in China, what are they doing? They say just in 2019 alone, they spent $150 billion on agriculture. And something like, it was like 89 million tons of soybeans was like the most thing that they bought. But if most of your food or a lot of your food is being imported in from other countries, but then the situation because of the pandemic, countries are stopping exporting. So which means that, a lot of people are panicking about food shortages, and that's why, even though the government says, don't worry, everyone's worrying. Another thing that I saw on the news is when you look at social media, there's Chinese residents in Wuhan that are filming videos of the police coming to their house. Why? Because they want them to shut down their social media or erase some social media thing that they posted. Now this is why they're so upset. On their posts, they're saying, during the coronavirus, we called the government, we called the police to help us because someone was sick. We asked them to help us because this was going on, but no one comes. But only when there's a bad post or we made a chat room for coronavirus, this is when the police comes. And you see that this is what is kind of breeding this type of distrust with the government and the people of China. And this is why when you look at it, it's kind of sad that it kind of makes sense that we don't want to call it the Chinese virus. The Chinese people have nothing to do with it. They're not the ones going around, faking and grossly under showing the numbers is so far below of what is actually happening there. It's not them, it's the government. That's why they want to change it to CCP virus, which is Chinese Communist Party virus. And they said they want to call it this because it's their fault. You want to remind people that it wasn't the Chinese people, but it's actually the fault of the Communist Party there in China. So, it's pretty sad what is going on, but it's really amazing, especially because we have such a strong church over there in Taiwan, and the members are very strong over there, just to see how amazingly they've handled it. And I'm sure because of the prayers of Sunstein that they were able to just really do well. Think about it. The people we don't hear about in the news most and they're praised a lot is South Korea and Taiwan. So I really hope that, and we haven't heard much about Japan yet either, but I'm sure something will come up. I'm not sure what it's going to say because there's a lot of talk about the Olympics and stuff like that too. But definitely Korea and Taiwan are doing such a great job, and I hope that other countries can follow suit starting from the next and just prepare themselves for the next one. So I do want to because I'm very thankful for such news like this where God is protecting countries. I really want to go with the theme of this week's message of always giving thanks, and the two praise songs that I want to play is Eternally Thankful, because we should be eternally thankful no matter what the situation. And the second thing is What You've Done For Me, because God says you have to remember what He has done for you. So let's sit back and let's praise together.
Above, I truly see you're always close to me, leading me with inspiration, and you intervene for me. I know I'm safe within your hands. You protected me from death. Now you are the reason that I live my life. Thank you eternally. Thank you for Now singing to bring you joy. That is the greatest joy for me. For all time, Lord, I want to laugh and smile with you. For within your brilliant smile, I feel the love you have for me. When you laugh, I can feel you love me so. And as I come to know you more, and as I come to love you more, my heart aches as I think of all that you've enjoyed. Now my tears are streaming down, but I hide my tears behind a smile. From now on, I'll become a source of joy for you. When I look at you, I smile for you, Lord. Even when my life is difficult, I'll never waver in my heart. When I think of you, I turn away and cry. But I'll only show my smiling face, for I know that's what you've done for me. Lord, when I see your smiling face, a fire burns within my heart. It's the spark of a love that lasts eternally. And the heart I had at first, I won't forget that feeling now. Oh my Lord, I will live embracing you. And as I love you endlessly, and as I act upon your word, till the end, I will be a source of joy for you. Now I know your heart of love, I know your anxious heart for me. But my Lord, you won't have to cry for me again. When I look at you, I smile for you, Lord. Even when my life is difficult, I'll never waver in my heart. When I think of you, I turn away and cry. But I'll only show my smiling face, for I know that's what you've done for me. I can see it in your smile, I can see the tears you hide. Now I know it was just a glimpse, but I saw them all. Now I only think of you, I will only love you, Lord. As I live with you, I'll always love and smile forevermore. When I look at you, I smile for you, Lord. Even when my life is difficult, I'll never waver in my heart. When I think of you, I turn away and cry. But I'll only show my smiling face, for I know that's what you've done for me. Now my tears are gone, my heart is filled with joy. My Lord, I will show you how my spirit smiles with an overflowing heart of love. Let us not forget this moment that we've shared. My Lord, I will love you with unchanging love, for I know that's what you've done for me. I will love you with unchanging love, for I know that's what you've done for me. I will always smile for you, my Lord.
And that is What You've Done For Me, and that was sung by Sarah Chamberlain from the UK. And also the first song, Eternally Thankful. I hope that you guys enjoyed those two praise songs and you were able to sing along too. That brings us to the word portion. Yesterday, just a great, I would say a graceful message. And it really made, I'm sure it made everyone think about just so many things that we could be thankful for, and also the things that we don't even know about. Like, I was really thinking about this a lot during the message yesterday, and there's one really inspiring point that I really think everyone should know, is how it was a story where it was Sun Sim's birthday, and then he wanted to give a gift to God, and the tree was coming, and then it broke on the way, so it's basically dying. It's like dead or it died, right? And Sun Sim was just so upset. And he stayed in his room. He didn't meet anyone. He just wasn't feeling like he should meet anyone. And then the Holy Spirit kind of tells him, "It's like, hey, the gift was already given through the heart." And honestly, if you think about it, God is a spirit. Like, why he doesn't really what is he going to do with a tree? Like, he's already spirit. He's a spirit, and this tree is physical. And what God told him was, "I already received the gift through your heart." Right? Through the inside, that you wanted to give it to me so badly that you bought this tree for me, and at that point I already received it. And he took it a step further, and this is something that I think a lot of us have to understand, is he says, even with evangelism, you could evangelize 5 people and all 5 of them leave, but regardless of the result, it is already received by God. Regardless if they're there or not, regardless if they still remain, regardless if they're long gone, whatever they've done with their life, but that merit or that heart, that wanting, that going out, meeting people, taking care, talking to people, managing them, caring for them, lecturing them, and all these other different things, that even buying them food, all these other different things, God has already received it. And I hope that this is something that everyone can really take heart in, because this comes through the word that God says, "I've already received it." Because I know a lot of us might feel that all our efforts are wasted. And the one thing I do think we have to realize about this love that God has, it is not based on results. Right? That the results aren't the biggest thing. Because most of the time, just to get that one result, how much failure or how many mistakes or how many things along the way were terrible just to get to that one good part. But God is someone that receives everything already. That entire process is received by God. So I hope that people don't get discouraged by the situations. Like, if someone leaves God and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I spent all this time and effort and everything," and we heard it so many times that your efforts are not in vain, but today was very, very clear. It was so clear, as yesterday's message was, even if they leave, I still receive that evangelism. And I believe this goes with many other things, where even prayer is, you really, really want to pray, and sometimes you're not at the level to pray for 3-4 hours, but you try your best, and those things are all received. That is not so much God says, "Well, I only receive deep prayers and nothing else. I only receive merit if the person is still in this history and never left and never made a sin." Because then who would actually have anything? Like, no one could have anything to God. But if you think about it, that one thing, that the interesting example that Sun Sim gave was it like granddaughter giving that gift to the grandfather? But the grandfather wanted to share that gift and talk with that child. But it's just like you give the gift and you walk away. But the point of it was to share it together. And I do believe, and it was very clear, that when you go out to preach the gospel, when you set your heart to pray, that you're doing it together. Could you say that because the person didn't accept the gospel, that God wasn't with you? No, that doesn't make any sense. God was with you the entire time, and you made stories together with the Lord. The person didn't stay, or the person didn't accept the gospel. What does that mean? It means that, we learned this already, that people have free will and they have choice. We can't make people believe. We can't make people follow. people have a choice that they have to make. What we can do is preach the gospel. What we can do is pray for people. What we can do is care for people. And that is our responsibility and our duty, right? That is our love towards God. And we've done those things. So I hope that everyone, do not think that even after 5 years and you worked so hard and you ran for the Lord and you did all these amazing things, but there's not much fruit. Well, don't be discouraged. Don't be sitting there like, oh my gosh, it's all worth nothing. No, it's not worth nothing. It is worth so much more than you think. And we have to really be able to make sure that everyone understands that more than the result itself, it is what we've done together with the Lord, what we put in, that effort, that mentality, that heart that really wants to give a life, right? To give something great to God, which is life itself. So I was really inspired by that, and I hope that you guys really understood that point too. The other one was just, wow, you should always be thankful. And he talked about Paul, that he was in a position that you couldn't give thanks, but he was still thankful, right? And what we kept hearing in the message was, there are so many things that God has saved you from. And there are things, this is the thing that got me even more, is there are things that God has done in the past to stop things from happening. So basically, even when things are just normal and nothing has happened all day, we don't even know if God has stopped something from happening. Even for us to even see it come into fruition where we almost die or we almost got the coronavirus, like those stories we heard about that elder getting sick, and then there's no room at that hospital. He goes to another hospital, and then he sees the person working at that hospital with the coronavirus, right? We don't see those things. There's so many things that we don't even see. And it really reminded me of that movie Butterfly Effect? Or do you guys know what the butterfly effect is? It's a theory. It's one of the things explaining chaos theory. But the key point is that a small event, something really, really small, if it happens at the right place and the right time, it triggers a large event, or it can lead to a larger event. For instance, let's think a lot of us coming to this history, coming to God, there were a specific set of events that brought us to that point. We met someone and we said, okay, I'll do it. If you think about it this way, imagine you're playing poker and all you're waiting for is that one card. And if you get that one card, you win $500,000 US. How much would your life change from that one card? That one specific event is that one card that comes out, it would change the rest of your life. Or if you think about this, think about Batman, the story of Batman, Bruce Wayne. Why did he become Batman? Because he witnessed someone killing his parents, right? And then he had that darkness set in, and then he became Batman, this vigilante. But what if he all of a sudden had to go to the bathroom? And then they never met up with those people, or he was never there. Or what if he got sick, or something really small? So if you think about it, God has helped us with so many things, even before that point, so that it would never happen or we would never notice in the first place. Which means, man, we have so many things to be thankful of that we need to pray, saying, God, there was nothing that happened today. It was just a cool day. I loved it, and I am so grateful and thankful because you must have done something to make this a peaceful day. There must have been something that would have happened, right? And if something happened, then you'll be like, oh, then we would have gone through something even worse. But we realize what? We realize that, God, you have been changing even these little things from the past so that they would not grow into a major event that would hurt me right now. And these are things we really have to be thankful for. And this last thing, of course, I always give a story, but today I want to give a story because, in the message yesterday, it said, you have to think about those things when God saved us in the past. And it reminded me of the story when I was in Germany. And I believe this was either 2006 or 2007. No, not even that time. It was earlier than that. I believe it was 1999 or the year 2000. And this is when Sunstein was touring all over Europe. And I was there at that time for this big soccer event. And I went to Germany early. And, we were always driving around, and I believe we went to Berlin or went to another city, and then we're driving back to the south, like where München, right, or Augsburg is. And we're driving down, there's 4 of us in the car, we're just talking, joking, laughing around. And at that time, we were playing this one card game. I know, it's a really fun game called Hula. And well, either way, like it's just, maybe it wasn't Hula, but it was a really, really fun card game. And what happened was we were just into it so much that we're driving on the way back, and then we decide like, hey, let's stop by and get something to eat. But obviously in our hearts, we just wanted to play the card game. So in the middle of this drive, we pull into this rest area, really nice one. We're eating, and then we just start playing this card game. And then we look outside, and it's snowing a bit. We're like, oh my gosh, it's snowing. And we didn't care, and we just started playing this card game. And then, like, 2 hours later, we're like, all right, let's go. We should go now, right? So we were just playing that game. We're so into it. 2 hours just flew by. We get back in the car. The snow already stopped, and we're starting to drive ahead. And about 15 to 20 minutes down, there's, like, this major car accident. It's like multiple cars in this accident, and it was already passed, and it was already being cleaned up, and there wasn't a lot of traffic because a lot of it was already cleaned up, and we're going by, and we're like, whoa. And at that moment, we realized that through this wanting, God gave us this itch to play this card game. That when it started to snow, there was this big accident, right? Right when we got there, we're eating, it started to snow, car accident happens, major traffic, and then they start to clean it up. And right when we finished the game, like we just went through that area, just nice, and there's no traffic. And we were just very, very grateful and thankful, like, wow, if we didn't stop for that card game, then we would have been in that accident. And we were just really grateful and really thankful to God at that time. Like, God, thank you so much for saving us, that we didn't get to a car accident, that no one got hurt. Wow. And that's one of the stories I remembered when yesterday's message, when the message was telling us, Remember the times. He said there's so many times. So now I'm trying to rack my brain more and more to think about even more stories of how God saved me. And I want to open this up to everyone here too, I want to hear your stories of being thankful, right? Like a story where God saved your life. And it could be a story where nothing happened, or it could be a story where something happened, but God truly saved you guys. And I want to, like, especially this week, put them into all these podcasts. So if you have one, write a comment, put your email there, and then I'm going to email you and ask for the full story so we can put it onto the podcast. Guys, comment below. Even if you don't have a story, comment on these stories that you just heard, and if it was inspiring or moving, or what you really liked about today's podcast. And I hope that we can just even more get involved in this podcast together, where we can hear about stories from all over the world, in the Western world or Eastern world also. So let's move on to my song of choice. Okay, now my song of choice comes from a group called, well, it's only one guy. The name is The Ben. Okay, and this is an artist from Rwanda. He's R&B and pop music, and the reason I chose this song is because it's called Thank You. And it seems like he's a really, really big person of faith, because he's thanking God and the Lord, and it's a really joyful song. He's very thankful. So it fits this week's message. So I hope that you guys will enjoy this song from The Ben, and it's called Thank You, and it's also featuring Tom Close. So please enjoy.
Thank you, my God, thank you today. Oh, yeah. And I thank you tomorrow. For your love, I thank you, my God. Oh, man, I thank you today. Thank you, my God, thank you today. And I thank you tomorrow. You never disappoint, oh, my God. Oh, man, I thank you today. Every time I wake up in the them money. Another day, another blessing. When I lose my job, I never worry. Because I know your plans are better. When the landlord come and knock on my door, and I know today I got no money, and I cannot afford food for my kids. I know tomorrow will be better. I thank you, God. Oh. Thank you, my God. Thank you today. And I thank you tomorrow. For your love, I thank you, my God. Oh, man, I thank you today. Thank you, my God. Thank you today. And I thank you tomorrow. You never disappoint, oh, my God. Oh, man, I thank you today. When I pass exam, I give you glory. When I fail, I give you glory. Cause I know you give me bread and butter. You take me places, you never tire. God, your blessings follow me every day. Another contract, another payday. Even if I can't afford food for my kids, I know tomorrow will be better. Thank you, my God, thank you today. And I thank you tomorrow. For your love, I thank you, my God. Oh, man, I thank you today. Thank you, my God, thank you today. And I thank you tomorrow. You never disappoint, oh, my God. Oh, man, I thank you today. Your man, I do sing it up for me. Do sing it up for me. Ni manita ura kuseka. Your man, I do sing it up for me. Sing it up for me. Ni manita ura kuseka. Thank you, my God, thank you today. And I thank you tomorrow. For your love, I thank you, my God. Oh, man, I thank you today. Thank you, my God, thank you today. And I thank you tomorrow. You never disappoint, oh, my God. Oh, man, I thank you today.
And that was Thank You from The Ben with Tom Close. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you hear the lyrics, it's amazing because it's thank you, my God, today and thank you, my God, tomorrow. And even when times are bad, there's a plan. There's a better plan you have for us in the future, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Of course, this brings us to the end. It's supposed to be a movie recommendation, but I actually want to bring a couple things up for all of us to make this podcast better. And of course, for Sundays, we're gonna have interviews every single Sunday. So I've already planned, and I have so many interviews that are lined up. I've done, I think, 10 of them already. Just inspiring and amazing people just lined up. I think this week, of course, you met Youngse, and if you haven't heard the interview, come listen to the interview. It's really fun, and just meeting people from all over the world is really good. Next week is the Sumney Boys, so that's another fun interview that you guys can join too. Also, for movie recommendations, I'm also getting a lot of people calling me saying, oh, I watched the movie, it was so good, or it was kind of funny because it's so unrealistic. But I want those comments. Just bring in your comments every single day, what you thought of the movie, or if you have a movie recommendation, that would be great too. And also, I'm looking for song and music recommendations also. So I'm talking to Taiwan, I'm talking to Japan, I'm talking to Korea, America, Malaysia. So if anywhere else, I know I'm talking to Vietnam now, and they got music coming out every single week from that church over there. So it's going to be really exciting. So don't be afraid. Just keep putting in those recommendations, comments, requests. I would love to hear them. And that brings us to the end of today. It is Monday, April 6th on the Morning Star Drive at 117.8. We thank you for joining on this first day of the week, and we'll see you tomorrow. And once again, another Lockdown Tuesday. Have a wonderful day.
You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure.
You wanna make it happen? Don't ever back down from the challenge ahead. You gotta keep it head.